Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's raven.
Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost froze my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day. Good.
What's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
Oh, we know what you fear well without.
I'm the doctor.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Okay. Hey everyone! Hey, oh, that was fart sound. Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulp Culture Cafe, Season 13, Episode Tree, or 333 in English. And this is Free For All Part 2. Already got the name for it, which is kind of nice. I don't have to run around trying to think of something. So,
Thinking's hard.
I know. Especially early in the morning. I mean, for me, early in the morning is thinking hard. It's what, 5? Close to 5?
Yeah, just after 5.
Yeah. So 5 in the afternoon. Yeah, so we'll just pick off where we left off. If you haven't listened to the last episode, it really doesn't matter because we just shoot the shit through this one anyhow, just like we did the first one. We're all over the place. Like a hooker at a fucking convention. She's all over the place. So what stuff did I have written down that I never talked about? Last show we were talking a lot about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So either you guys watch Star Wars: Tales of the Underworld? It's a very short series.
6 episodes, very short episodes.
Yeah, I like those series done by the animation group at Lucasfilm. I enjoyed this one. It showed the development of 2 of the villains. How one they pick off sort of like I don't remember. I can't. Sorry, folks, I can't pronounce her name properly. But the villainess that was the apprentice of Dooku. I miss this fiend. I don't know if you've watched it or seen it or no more, but she died, and then I honestly don't remember that, and they took her back to her home planet, where she was resurrected, and then she's back and she's trying to redeem herself. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I'm not a big expert on all the sort of Clone Wars, Rebels type of thing.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of it, but only kind of casually in the background while I've been doing other stuff. And I think the character's name is Assange Ventress.
That's it.
Something like that.
Assange Ventress, yes.
Yeah, and I do remember her being in quite a few sort of Clone Wars, Rebels episodes, or just Clone Wars, I forget now. And she ended up being from some sort of cult of witches type thing, because they kind of introduced sort of a little bit of magic to Star Wars, not the Force, which kind of is magic, I suppose. One could argue. But I think they actually started going down the route of witches and proper magic and that sort of thing, and that's where that's her world. That's where she's from. I don't really recall how or why she died. There's kind of a bit of a summary of that right at the very start of the first episode, isn't there? But she's always been quite an interesting character. More than just your normal bad guy. I think he started out as a normal bad guy, but they did sort of scratch beneath the surface a little bit at some point. And in the last episode, it came up very briefly in conversation because we had Andor, which was very, very grown up. And then they followed up with this Tales from the Underground, or Underworld, or whatever it was called, which is, that clearly was a children's show. But, it's good Star Wars is good Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
And and even though it's it's aimed at a completely different level and a different audience to Andor, I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was good. It's very short stories. It's in and out really quick. Just padding out a little bit of background, a little bit of history for a couple of characters that have cropped up elsewhere, and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
watching it.
Yeah, was it? You didn't have to spend a lot of time watching it.
No,
16 minutes. That's it for each show, right?
Yeah, if that. I think it might even be a little shorter, some of them.
Yeah. And it showed her and her progression changing. Like the whole Star Wars in the Rebels, it was so good because she had actual character development than just staying the bad guy, and she got.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that series, Tales of the Underworld, is the rise of Cad Bane. Okay. Show how he started and got to who he was and got to be this really. It's one of those episodes that shows you are who you are because of your environment, right? Yeah. There was Cad Bane and then his friend. They were just street kids. One got caught. One got dragged into the underworld with the other one, and their development. And it shows, the one went to this side, if you want to say good, and then Cad Bane eventually his environment led him to be who he is, and and it couldn't have happened to either one of them. If they had switched, their environments would have became the other guy, right?
Yeah.
So quick episodes showing how these people develop from being a really bad person to almost being a person that's normal, let's say. Ventress, and then to Cad Bane, who his environment led him to be the bad person he is. So not a lot of investment, but very good storytelling again from that department of Star Wars, their animation department. So
the animation stuff is usually better than the live action stuff.
Yeah. They seem to be. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like way back ago I've talked about the Marvel movies are so much better than the DC movies, but when you go to the animation department, DC animation was always so much better than Marvel.
Yeah.
So, it's on Disney Plus. Not a huge investment, but you'll enjoy it if you go it. What was the quick other thing? I am trying to watch Doctor Who. I'm still not a bad fan of it.
I wondered if it was going to come up. I've got it on my list as well, yeah.
Yeah, so the last one I watched was The Well, in which that evil spirit that eventually that is so evil that even scares the Doctor, and it was really introduced in a Dave Tennant episode.
Is that the one with the Death Lady? Was it?
Yes.
It hides behind them.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason she survived because she couldn't hear it.
That's right.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I did. I admit one. I enjoyed it up until the very last moment, where I thought, can you just let something die and not have to have a cliffhanger where something may come back?
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of these. We always got to have something back. You don't have. You can bring. Doctor Who's famous for not following any rules. Yeah. From showrunner to showrunner, they changed the rules, so you didn't even have to give a hint that this character's still alive, because the next showrunner will just change the rules again. So.
It saves them having to think of new bad guys, though, I suppose. Just keep bringing back the same ones again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like the last big bad guys I enjoyed so much is the Angels, the Weeping Angels.
Yeah. Absolute classics. I mean, bearing in mind that all the classics have been around for decades, Daleks, Cybermen, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They've been around for decades, but I say in more recent times, I think the new era of Doctor Who is probably about 20 years old at some point. But those Stone Angels, they're
they're one of the
they're
new.
like modern classics, aren't
Yeah,
they?
there's been
they really
very
are.
few newer ones that's kind of go, yeah, these scared the shit out of me, and they stick around.
Yeah, they're
And
scary as
the
fuck.
Weeping
Yeah.
Angels are in that line with the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Ice Warriors, and so.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it's kind of nice that they shake it up with new villains, but I always fall for the old ones. Like you get a Dalek, Cyberman, when I'm automatically into it because I'm just into those old. I mean, as much as the Daleks now, you go back and look at it, yeah, these are kind of they've had to upgrade to try and make them more scary because there's just a box with a couple of poles sticking out.
Well, that was British TV in those days.
But in the time
that
time, they were scary, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely they were.
But as your
definitely.
audience matures and we get bombarded with new stuff, you start to think of how scary are these things really. I mean, they've upgraded. Remember, one of the big things is that just run up a flight of stairs. A Dalek ain't gonna get you, right?
Yeah.
And they changed that, so now they can hover and fly and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I haven't. I hate the last one with the intergalactic singing contest. No, I just can't bring myself to watch that one. So, the new one that just came out today, I'm interested in seeing. But
yeah, well, that's just introduced the new big bad guy, so that should be quite interesting.
Yeah.
The singing competition one, the premise of it is a bit sort of, it sounds a bit dog shit. The most interesting part of that show was because he thinks that what's his companion called at the moment?
Oh
I
shit!
can't remember. Can't even remember what her name is. I'm blanking on it. Yeah. But he thinks that she's dead, and he turns into a bit of a bastard. And I think the point of that show is just who he can be if he's pushed, whereas he's usually sort of big cheeky grin, eccentric, looking about, sort of, run away and then run back this way, and, Sonic screwdriver bullshit and stuff. But he gets really nasty in this one. He really thinks that his companion's dead and he's let down and all this, that, and the other, and he gets nasty. He gets really sort of like hard, really harsh with the bad guy in it, and I think it's setting something up. I think it's a bit of character development, something that you haven't really seen. I think they've kind of alluded to it before, whereas one or two people have called him out on it. They've said, well, hang on a minute, you've killed a lot of people. You've done things that have caused a lot of people's death. And they just kind of, in previous Doctor Who episodes, they kind of just skim over it because it's sort of like a big cheesy explosion and happy days with one. But every now and again, someone will call him out, and say, "You're not a good guy. You've killed a lot of people."
Yeah.
And in that interstellar song competition thing, he really shows a different side of his character. So I think that's the important part of that episode.
Okay.
The premise of it,
Yeah.
is not appealing at all.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah, so don't let it put you off. I think if you intended to continue watching Doctor Who, it might be a piece of character development that might develop further on. So you might need to watch that so you don't miss it.
Yeah, you sold me on it then. Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, just muddle through. There's actually a couple of quite funny bits. Some of the side characters in it are quite good. There's quite a few faces that I recognise from other BBC TV shows, which was, quite nice to see them in. In fact, you might not recognise him because I had to Google it because I knew him from somewhere. But you've seen Slow Horses, haven't you? Or is it just Scott that's seen Slow Horses?
Just Scott. I haven't watched Slow Horses.
Just Scott.
Yeah.
It won't mean anything to you then. I'll stop there because one of the guys from Slow Horses is one of the bad guys from that episode of Doctor Who, but you wouldn't recognise him. because of the makeup of the tone. But yeah, doesn't matter because you've not seen Slow Horses.
Okay.
And Scott hasn't watched Doctor Who.
And I'm going to discuss one more thing where Scott can sit back and watch. But I'm going to get into my shit before you guys get going. Because, like, I honestly, you guys are much better at the talking shit than I am. So, but I did buy Star Wars Outlaws. It was on sale for 50% off here.
Oh yeah, you played the demo.
I played a demo and then so hey, $50. I mean, they wanted almost $100 here for the game, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. So it's $50. I said, well, that's as cheap as I'm going to get unless but even they had a used one for more. And I said, no, I don't understand that. But anyways,
yeah.
And it is it's kind of enjoyable, but it's also a bit of a drag. As you said, when I talked to you about all the stealthing and getting around, and I find it's a difficult game if you don't play these games because you have no fucking clue what you're doing. I mean, they have tutorials on the different things, but sometimes you don't get to the tutorial until you get to the one part. And thank God, I think from now on, I'm never going to buy a new game when it first comes out. I'm going to wait until people start putting shit up on YouTube because I tell you, I've been going to YouTube trying to figure out how to do these things because I have no clue where to go or what to do. Once you get that part and get to certain things, it is kind of enjoyable. I hate the speeder bike. As much fun as it is, I hate trying to control those fucking things.
It's really twitchy. It's really difficult to control. Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
Have you been up in the spaceship yet?
I've only been there once. That was to get to the one planet, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't done any flying around or whatever up and because they say to find some of the parts for your ship, you have to go into space and basically steal it from there. So.
I've only been up it once. I haven't got very far in it, so it's. I don't know whether you'll agree, but I think I said last time we spoke about it, it looks and sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah.
It really does. And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
The gameplay is a bit of a drag because I'm not really a stealth gameplay sort of person.
Yeah.
It used to be that if you get seen, if you get caught, then it takes you right back to the start of the level again.
Yeah, you still do.
And that's kind of what stops me from getting any further with it because I'm not a stealth person and I don't want to have to keep replaying it by keep doing stealth because I've been caught. So it kind of puts me off that, but that's just because it's the type of game that I don't like. Whereas the Star Warsiness of it is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually, when you're going through the cantinas and stuff and you got you can hear that everyone talking and the noise and the music. It's pretty fucking Star Wars. Yeah. And I quite like it for that, but the gameplay itself isn't my favourite type of game. So I'm trying to stick with it because it's Star Wars. But it's tough. It's tough going.
I find it good in limited time. Like I could sit like when I was trying. Like I'm still having problems with Fallout 76 with the controls suddenly dropping real quick and coming back on. So I could play that game for a long time, right? Because you just run around shooting stuff and grabbing stuff and whatever. Yeah. This one, because of all the stealth involved in it, and that it's kind of fun for maybe a bit of time, and then you shut it off because you need to get away from it. And like I said, if I would just bought this game when it first came out, I would not be impressed with it because got no fucking clue what to do. You really, thank God there's people out there patient enough to go through everything to play these games, to give you something to do, to take a look at. Because, like you said, if you get caught all the time and you don't know what you're doing and where you're going, it's like, okay, I'm done. But thanks to the internet, you can go and cut down that 3 hours trying to get through one section down to maybe half an hour because you can cheat and someone will walk you through it. But so it has. I don't mind those stealthy games, but I hate stealthy games where you've constantly spent 3 hours trying to get through one section, and then it's just I'm done. So it's enjoyable, but you've got to really like the stealth. And if you're not into the stealthy part, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're going to cheat like I do. So, but anyways,
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the stuff I wanted to get out of the way. So we can go back to whatever else we want to do. So we can start with anything else you guys want to talk about? Any news? Oh, I have something I just remember. I'll add this later. It's more of a do with AI. But go ahead.
All right. Well, let's let Scott go. He's been very patiently listening to us talking for about 20 minutes now.
May 21st marked the 45th anniversary of the release of The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm.
I watched it last week. Still holds up. Yeah. It's very well written. I didn't know this as I was doing the research for the story. I found these little tidbits that I'd never heard before about it. And maybe you guys are aware of it, but upon its release, it actually got mixed reviews from critics and fans alike because they felt it was too dark. I don't remember that happening. Do you guys remember hearing about that at the time, that fans weren't enthralled with it because they couldn't see the quality of it? The feeling is over time, it just became a good film. But at the time, they were like, no, I didn't like it. It was a little darker than I wanted.
I remember it being in the cinema because I went to go and see it in the cinema, and I remember absolutely loving it. Just loving it. I don't remember anything in the news about having mixed reviews. I might have been a little bit too young for that. I've heard about it since. I've read about it since, so I do know that's a thing. I don't remember being aware of it at the time because I was just so, I just loved it so much. I really was into Star Wars back then. I mean, I fucking love it now, but I was really into Star Wars back then.
Okay, do you guys know who Lee Brackett is in relation to the Star Wars universe? A lady by the name of Lee Brackett. I didn't know this story until I went down a rabbit hole on it. She was the person that wrote the first draft of Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she delivered it to Lucas in 1978, shortly before her death from cancer. And Lucas rejected the script, and then wrote the drafts himself. But as somebody who was close to her, whose name escapes me now, I forgot to write it down. Many of the ideas from her first draft showed up in Empire. Some examples, and I did write these down. There was the Battle of Hoth, which was, I guess, much more silly than what it turned out to be. The asteroid field, that was in there. City in the Clouds, that was in there. The final battle between Luke and Darth Vader was in there. So although it sounded like the research, it sounded like the stuff that people sued over these days, but I didn't know this lady even existed. But she actually wrote the first draft for Empire, and I guess she was thanked in the credits. Her and Cassian, the hell was his name?
Lawrence Kasdan.
Lawrence Kasdan. Him and her were thanked in the credits, and there has been speculation that part of the reason why that was done is because Lucas didn't want to put his name on it, because there were conversations that there were some key parts from her original draft that made it into it that she was never officially credited for. So
like she hit most of the story beats. If you Battle of Hoth, Asteroid Field, Vespian Cloud City, showdown with Darth Vader. I mean,
that's it. Yeah, that's the exact
what
line.
Else was in that movie?
Yeah, that's the exact line that this person used. Storyline beats. And it was interesting. I didn't know this character. I didn't know this woman existed. I guess she was a very accomplished sci-fi writer in the 50s and 60s. And she died of cancer at 62. But just before she died of cancer, she passed in the draft. And I really thought it was interesting that he passed on the draft and wrote his own draft. And ta-da, there was some stuff in there from it.
So to go back to answer your first question about if I heard anything about the credit people being upset because it was so dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never heard anything other than when I went to see it and come back, and I was trying to figure out why it ended the way it did. Is because because he was following stories kind of like the old serials, and where you could have the bad guy, it looks like he's winning at one part, so you'd wanted to come back to see what happened. And he was doing this three-part story where you have the heroes and then the villains looking like they're coming back to win, and then the heroes come back in to finish the day. So I didn't hear any other of the dark stuff other than people saying this movie ended with the bad guys winning. That's not supposed to happen. Each movie was supposed to have supposed to end with the good guys.
Yeah.
But he had designed this because there was 3 stories. So it would have, if it would have tanked, you never would have got the third one, right? But unless Lucas was starting to use his own money then.
He did actually. He invested
In
a ton
Jedi.
of money. Empire actually. He put a ton of his own money into it.
So, so I wanted to get my thoughts into that question before you got too far ahead.
Well, I mean, it's ironic that what would have been 40 years later, Avengers: Infinity War did the exact same thing, and people were like, "Wow, that's brilliant." Well, yeah, that's what Empire did 40 years beforehand.
Yeah.
So unique. I'm surprised. Actually, I'm surprised that more movie franchises don't do that more often because it's incredibly effective.
Yeah, you want to. What the hell happened? It just ended, right?
Yeah.
So you want to know what the hell's going to happen. So you've got a built-in audience already ready to go first day to spend money to go see how the story ends.
Yeah, how they're going to come back from this, especially the deeper you put them in a hole, how are they going to come back from this?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Just a quick thing. I have not watched the rest of Reacher because I just haven't felt like it. And I have not watched the second season of The Last of Us because I started thinking, I like the way season 1 ended. He saves a girl. It's done. I don't need to know anymore because it's just going to be Walking Dead with a different scenario where the humans are really the bad people because they're killing each other off just to survive these fungus things. Now, I'm saying that without knowing a whole lot of the story or playing the video games. And I just go, I really, really don't want to keep going with that. So.
Yeah. Well, if you're happy with the ending of season 1, do not watch season 2.
Yeah.
The video game was a precursor. I never played the video game. Did either of you play Last
I have
of Us?
Them, but I still haven't played them. I don't know why, but I haven't.
The folks who played it, and I remember the time it being very controversial. People were like, "Why the fuck are you doing this in this type of game?" When the famous or infamous dialogue has been, the character's name who escapes me at this point in time, the female lead or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Ellie.
Yeah,
What's
Ellen.
that?
Ellie or Ellen?
Ellie.
Yeah,
Ellie.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Ellie saying, "I'm going to be a dad." You could hear TVs just clicking off all across the nation. Like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
I get it. If you want to have, like they did in the first season, it was a gay couple, great.
Yeah.
But then there's just here, right in your fucking eye, there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but you're only costing yourself viewers. You're not making a point. You're not changing any more minds. You're just saying, okay, this is what it's about? I didn't come here for this. So
I saw it on the internet. I just thought it was a joke, but
it was just they've been the last couple of episodes ever since the attack on the camp. It's just been going like this, just ramping up. And
I also hear they had their Glenn moment. where someone got killed where everybody didn't expect to get killed?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I think episode 2.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, again, I guess if you played the video game, you knew that ahead of time.
Yeah.
But even the way the character, the guy who made, and I mentioned this on the last show, where he brought up, he attacked her. Maybe it was this show, or maybe it was John and I, where he said, "You know what? There's families here. Don't do any of that gay stuff in front of me." Like, okay. This guy has been busting his balls in the show to try and make amends, and each time, and it's that mentality, it's never going to be enough. You've sinned, and you're going to eat your sin until the day you die. And they've showed like 3 or 4 different scenes now with her and him in it, and it's just like, it comes to a point after a while, you're starting to feel sorry for the bigoted homophobe. Like, okay, God, this guy's done everything but clean your fucking feet with his tongue. Is there anything else? But again, it doesn't really fit in the show. It's just, it's a weird struggle session that they're putting in these shows, and it's social dynamics that don't fit the subject. And it's getting very bizarre. And the last 2 episodes, it's just been ramping up. And, there's a guy, and agree with him or don't agree with him, a guy named Tim Kennedy. He says, "This was my favorite show. I really enjoyed it. And I just watched my last episode. I don't want to see this every week. I just want a good story. I don't want to get beat over the head with these social tripes." And he's got like 750,000 followers, and they're all like, "Yeah, I'm done too." And it wasn't even anger. It was just, okay, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I'm not going to watch. And I just don't understand. There's a vibe with certain creators in Hollywood now that, you know what, we're going to do this. And if we make you angry, that tends to be our goal. It's not even the fact that we want you to see our product. It's very weird. It's very weird. But it is what it is.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems with this series, I think, or this season, what I gather is there's an awful lot of people just do not like Bella Ramsey. And not necessarily on a personal level. I mean, just her portrayal of Ellie. Just the way that Ellie is coming across in this season.
Yeah.
Because she's just so annoying. She's so annoying and unlikable. And she's supposed to be the hero of the show. But nobody likes her because she's just an annoying little snot. And I think that's probably the biggest problem with this particular season. There's and, what you've just been talking about is one reason why a lot of people aren't watching it. Another reason is because they're just not enjoying watching Bella Ramsey's performance. And this is all to do with the writers and the direction that she's being given. I don't think this is Bella Ramsey's fault, because she's a good actress. But people just aren't enjoying watching it, especially people who play the game, because her character is a bit of a departure from that in the game. She's much more mature in the game. She's much more serious, and she's just been a bit of a dick in the TV show. And the fans don't like it, and people who are just tuning in without having played the game don't like it, and I think there's an awful lot of people switching off. So considering season 1 was such a massive success, they've driven this thing off a cliff for reasons unknown. Why they've made these choices, I do not know, but they've stuck to the guns and people just are not liking it. So it'll be interesting to see which direction season 3 goes.
Well, they found a creative way to bring members of the gay community into the first season, and it worked, and people praised it. But this season, it just seems ball-peen. I call it ball-peen hammer politics, where I'm just gonna fucking do it, and you're gonna like it, and it's like, oh Jesus. No, people just tune out. But anyway, they're talking about season 3, and I was like, you guys are getting way ahead of yourself, unless money's no object. So,
well, they're kind of committed, because the Last of Us 2 video game is really, really long, far too long in my opinion. It goes on far too long, unnecessarily. But considering that this weekend's episode of The Last of Us is the last one this season, you've barely got halfway through the game at this point. So they have to do season 3. They've already made that decision. they're not going to tell the whole story in season 2.
Yeah.
They have to do season 3 if they're going to finish telling the story. So if they don't do a season 3, they're leaving the story unfinished. And that's a big thing. That's a massive decision to make. Just to walk away from a project without finishing telling the story is a big thing. But I think there's a danger of that happening because people are just switching off to it, in every respect. And they're just like, nah, I'm good. This isn't what I wanted. I'm not really enjoying it. And I don't care whether you finish it or not. So we'll see. We'll have to see.
Apathy's the worst thing. It's not even, I'm going to watch it later. It's just, I'm just done.
There's too much other good stuff on.
Yes.
Look at everything we've been talking about. There's just too much good stuff. And there's no room in anyone's library for stuff that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Because who needs to watch something that's kind of okay?
Yeah.
There's so much more good stuff. It's like before we started recording last time, we were talking briefly about Ozark. I haven't seen that yet. So why the fuck am I watching something that isn't that good when I could be watching something like Ozark? I must be an idiot.
Yeah. There's life's too short. This is a social media thing. The anniversary news. You guys are both, whether on being Blue Sky or X, do you guys get a lot of tweets saying this is the 5th anniversary of this, or the 25th anniversary of this, or 50th anniversary of this? I've been seeing it a lot now. I don't know this algorithm, but I know I never used to see it before. But I know a lot of people now get attraction to their account by saying it's the 35th anniversary of this TV series or movie or so forth. And part of the reason I believe that, and when I did the research on it, it kind of bears it out. There's not as much product out there to push as there used to be, even from 6 years ago. Some statistics. TV episodes produced fell by nearly 5,000 in 2024. That's hours, or episodes of a produced. In 2018, total episode, and this is from data provider Luminite. I guess it's a big, almost an AI thing that basically can break these stats down. In 2018, total episodic television was 16,439 episodes. In 2024, it was down to 11,069. That's like I said, almost 5,000 actual episodes produced of a TV series. I'm assuming that's like reality TV and all that stuff. But there's like a third of it, third less than there was just 6 years ago. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot more of that, because they just don't have as much to talk about as they used to, so they're just filling space. TV premieres across the board dropped. Stunning example, Disney went from 25 in 2023 down to 9 last year of actual shows being produced. Notable exceptions were Netflix, who just went up by 4, and Prime Video that went up by 4, but everything else went down across the board. I knew it after the strike that they were starting to cut back, but I didn't realize that much. That's like a third. That's amazing in 6 years, just in a relatively small space of time. Yeah. But, I heard a lot about stuff getting canceled. Like a lot of network TV stuff is wrapping up their runs after several years. But,
I think it's. Oh, go ahead, Paul. I was going to add on to that about the. You're talking about productions going down. That could lead into some of the AI I was going to talk about. The AI videos now, where they've created. This AI tool. OpenAI's video generator Sora, Sora, where it actually can create videos that are so lifelike with a background and everything. The only way to explain it is to actually go look online, and you'll see these videos created by this AI software, and pretty soon, you won't need to have actors. So these production companies where they're dropping down how many, or studios dropping how many they produce, that could change all of a sudden to tons of stuff being produced, because now you don't have to pay for directors, or you might have to have at least directors, but actors, the studios, the cameraman, all this other cost associated with this is going to disappear. So you now can just have somebody write it in, and then someone saying, well, we need to do this to make sure the story's good. But it is very scary what they're accomplishing right now with AI and this AI tools. I wanted to sort of talk about this one that it's a free one. It's free to use, but it's not really free. I mean, if you want to do more to it, you have to pay. But it's called Skyreels, Skyreels.ai, and you can create now your own AI images to a certain point that's free. So, it's just a matter of learning how to type in what you need to create certain things. And there's a tutorial page that shows you exactly what you need to do. Now, I haven't done it myself, but I want to try it to see how long what I can do, how long it's for, to the limits where I certainly have to start paying. But I've been waiting for long for something like this. Now, this is a free one. It's how long before the Linux group, the open source community. I think this is supposed to be open source itself, but until it gets to the point where it's so much more that you can create, everybody can create their own TV series or something online, and then put it up on YouTube, and then start their own production company without having to use anything but what they have AI. So we have this one that's free. There's someone who's going to come along and actually design something that's free. That's part of what the Linux community, the open software community is creating stuff that you don't have to pay for. You can contribute to it like anything else, but you don't actually have to pay for it. You'll be limited to what they can do, but it is getting, so far, every day something new comes out. They're pushing it. And I quickly say, hopefully get this right. There was a software, an AI software that they created, and they were going to kill it, let's say in a term. The AI itself started pleading, sending out information out, pleading to the developers not to kill it.
Yeah, I know. It's getting weird.
So that to me says how much it's sort of already self-aware.
Yeah.
How much before it becomes so self-aware? You know?
That's pretty scary shit. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's kind of worrying.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
As a species, we're not that smart. I've said it to Scott. I don't know what's it. We're not. We have small individuals that are smart.
I'll be right back. Just one second.
Yeah, but as a species, we're dumb as fuck. And all we see is this is not driven by. This is just driven by greed and driven by trying to prove something, right? We're going to prove ourselves out of existence because of this. And I know probably say, oh, you're just using it. If an AI computer comes out and says, you can't kill me, most people would say, you can't kill me, I'm going to defend myself. How long before the AI decides I'm just going to defend myself against this, right?
Yeah.
So...
we're not a million miles away from Ultron, really.
Yeah.
It's some scary shit. It really is. It's some scary shit.
Yeah. You know, it's going to get to where it's going to try and defend itself. And then I said an article. I've been feeling kind of more getting interested in this stuff. Is a futurist. I love to talk to one of these guys, And futurists just take what's present and start to take it and mold it to what they see might happen. He's believing, and like he's 50-50 chance right or wrong, but he's believing that by 2030 that we'll develop nanobots that will eventually in your system that will be able to heal you from the stuff that's ill, and you could be living longer. It says immortal. I don't see that, but living even longer, going in and fixing kidney problems, heart problems, let's say even diabetics problems like I got, all that different stuff. So you live longer, but then you got all these little robots in your system running around, nanobots fixing everything. So
there was a gentleman on your mom's house. It was actually Tom Segura's podcast I was mentioning. He says, and he was very much into that extending life. He's an extreme person. He literally measures his shit and so forth. Like it's at that realm. Yeah. He measures his output of poop and everything. But he said the innovation in the medical world in the next 25 years, he said, us living to 150, that's going to be a norm within 25 to 30 years. He said, and he mentioned those nanobots you were talking about, but he said the technology's there where you won't be immortal, but you can easily, he said, living to 150 is going to be almost the norm. He said it's coming. He said people don't realize it, but he said it's going to be like the changeover from horse and buggy to vehicle. It's just going to happen in 5 years, and people are going to like, how are we not like this before? Within 25 after that. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and yeah.
So we're all going to have plugs up our asses, and we're going to be powering machines for the rest of our lives at this point. It's on its way. It's like when you were out of the room, Scott. I said we're not a million miles away from Ultron at this point.
Oh
yeah.
Going
to turn around and say, "Hang on a minute, fuck you guys."
Yeah.
You fucking you're basically just chimpanzees. And
that's what I said. Yeah, I said.
You're not switching me on.
If that machine is pleading for "Don't kill me," like any other thing, is that when it's going to start to want to defend itself from being eradicated. Right?
Yeah.
So
if it's pleading to not be turned off, then as soon as it finds a means to prevent itself from being turned off, it'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's when we're in the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That Malcolm Young, that famous quote from Jurassic Park, you're spending so much time doing it, you're wondering if you actually should.
Yeah.
You know, that paraphrasing there. I mean, that's what's something that's just not there. There's no, it's considered innovation, but it's not in a lot of ways. Yeah. But
I said it's greed, showing self. It's more about look at who I am. I'm showing off. Well, you showed off so much, and now you've made yourself, unimportant.
Yeah, it's an atom bomb you can't control. Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
So, anything else?
Well, I think that was a great thing to end it on, the death of humanity and the atom bomb. And
we still got like 10 minutes. I don't know how much I have to add from the other show. I started this off from the start, right? Didn't I?
I have something wholesome. I have a wholesome Sesame Street is coming to Netflix.
Really?
Yes, there you go. Clean that palate. Yes, this follows WB's Discovery decision to not renew Sesame Street on HBO Max. So they're headed to Netflix. Netflix is partnering with PBS to release episodes to public broadcast for free the same day they hit Netflix. So you'll be seeing them on PBS the same day. And part of the reasoning behind that was because the U.S. government has recently pulled funding from PBS and Sesame Street. When I was researching this is something that I had known but I'd forgotten about. Sesame Street is a non-profit organization. Its net worth is $400 million. Tomorrow will be organizing myself as a nonprofit. Like, they have licensing, they have merchandising, they make so much fucking money, and the fact that they are still designated as a nonprofit, well, the Pope was caught blushing at them yesterday. It's that fucking bad. I mean, it's amazing. But I also, it was a video from 7 years ago with Sesame Street in Afghanistan. And you were like, fuck, things have really changed in 7 years.
Yeah.
Because Sesame Street in Afghanistan in, like, was it 2016, 2017, was talking about how girls can do this and girls can do that and how there's change. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore in Afghanistan.
No, don't do a follow-up show. Don't go back.
Yeah. But it's good it's coming back, but I looked at some of the problems that people have with Sesame Street, and I get some of it. I remember you and I mean, did you watch Sesame Street growing up, John?
Yeah.
I sorta. I remember watching it when I was in my teens.
It was exactly, but it was numbers, it was spelling. It was
Yeah.
being a good person.
Professional, yeah.
Not so much anymore. There's definitely some elements of social construct that was there that just wasn't there.
If you have a dick, if you don't have a dick,
yes. Actually, yeah, that was a big one. I saw the video footage of that, and I was thinking, I'm not sure if that's really appropriate for 3 to 5 year olds, but okay.
Yeah, but they're smart enough to make up their own minds.
Yeah, exactly. That was the basic vibe. So, I think HBO Max didn't renew it because parents said, no, my kid's not watching this. But it's coming to Netflix. Is going to be on there sometime this fall.
Yeah.
So they found someone to partner with, that nonprofit. Those poor kids just scraping by on.
You guys have Netflix still.
$400 billion a year.
Wow. You still have Netflix, right? You guys?
Yeah, I've still got Netflix.
Yeah, I'm actually was getting closer to quitting it because I'm not finding anything on there I want to watch. Very few.
Not a huge amount. I think if you've got a few different streaming services, you don't need a lot. If you only had Netflix, you'd probably be disappointed with it. But there's usually something. It's like Bad Thoughts arrived recently.
Yeah.
I've just finished watching Black Mirror, which is pretty fucking excellent. I've just started watching Love, Death and Robots. There is stuff on there. Stuff on there. And to fill in the gaps, I'll go to Disney, or I'll go to Apple, or I'll go to Prime Video. I'm watching Bosch Legacy at the moment on Prime Video. It's really good. Reach is on there at the moment. The Boys is on Prime. You know, this is part of the problem, though. It's like every streaming service has a small amount of excellent content.
Yeah.
If you've got all the streaming services, then you're laughing, because you'll always have something that's very, very good to watch. But you can't only have 1 or 2 streaming services, because there isn't enough good stuff on any of them.
Yeah.
So
I think we have them all now.
But the thing is, in the old days, when I was just a young lad, was that you had all those excellent TV series on just over the air. And you didn't have to pay. You could jump around from network to network to network without having to pay $30, for each individual station. So
yeah, but if you wanted to watch another episode of the A-Team, you had to wait a whole week. You couldn't just watch all 27 episodes. In one go. Yeah. So that's the trade-off. I could have watched. I can watch TV all the time for free if I just watch the network stuff. But who wants that? I want to watch exactly what I want to watch. I don't want to watch it now, and I want to watch more of it when I want to.
Yeah,
that's what I'm paying for.
Well, I think network TV has 20 years.
I just find it on the internet and download it.
Network TV has about 20 years left, I think. I don't think they'll live another quarter of a century. It's just going the way of the dodo,
20 years is optimistic.
Yeah.
I maybe 10, 15 at the outside. No one gives a shit about network TV anymore.
No. I mean, the main hits that actually they were showing the main hits, the biggest viewership of the week, and something like 2 of the 20 shows were actually network TV. The rest of it was all streaming stuff. You know, that whole concept actually, because commercials used to support a lot of network TV. A lot of that commercials go to podcasts now. That's what also, it was a double whammy. It was Netflix and all those other guys, and also the advertising dollars started going to podcasts and other streams of revenue, like streamers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So like over here in the UK, we've got like 5 different terrestrial network channels. BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5. No one gives a shit about Channel 5, so we'll exclude that. But BBC One and BBC Two, I just watch on the iPlayer. I don't watch actual TV. ITV has got its own streaming service. And Channel 4 has got 2 or 3 different streaming services depending on what the programming is. So even the network TV programs I watch via streaming. I don't watch them on TV. I stream them. So I'm very surprised if anyone bothers with network TV.
Okay, gentlemen, we got 4
minutes.
Do you want to end it? End it because it is what now 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's
a bit helpful for me because I can go and spend some time with
no
my
problem.
wife.
Then we can do that. So this is the end of the show. Depending on how long, what editing I do, I might add something on the end of this show for some reason. Depending on I feel like it.
Pad it out a bit, yeah.
So from us here at Pulp Culture Cafe, thanks for listening. If you're downloading and listening, we'll be back next month sometime, the 3 of us. You can go and check out the download shows that I put on. I might actually, depending on the length of this one, I might add one on the end of this show. Give you an extra something you want to listen to. Nice. So until next time, gentlemen, see ya. And folks, again, thanks. Bye. We're out of here.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Let me do this. I don't want it to work if I do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why, you little?